This here is the new Yamaha FZX, and it is a substitute to the much asked for XSR 155, and there is complete logic in that because the XSR is based on the more expensive MT15 platform, a platform that's not sold as much as, let's say, the FZS. Now this is based on the FZS platform, which means it's more affordable, and you could look at this as a good design study in place, and if it works well, then maybe we'll see the XSR 155. But for now, let's talk about the FZX in more detail. And do watch the video right till the end because we've got the exhaust note or the exhaust sound for the FZX, and we tell you which is a better motorcycle to buy or what's the difference between the FZX and the FZS on which it is based. So like I said earlier, this is a styling exercise because the draw for the XSR was not so much the riding bit about it, but how it looked, that whole retro styling, because if you wanted the dynamics of the motorcycle, they're already available in the MT15. Now, as you can see here, there is a lot of focus on making it look retro, the FZX, but also there is that bit about ruggedness that's been included. So you've got a lot of these metal inserts at places, and even your thumb guard is metal. So the idea is to bring some amount of, let's say, desirability in the whole commuter aspect of the motorcycle. And even though it's got a lot of metal, it's still not a heavy motorcycle. Now, I know a lot of you were not happy about the way the motorcycle looks, and I can tell you that in flesh it looks way better than it did in the pictures. There's a sense of mass to the motorcycle which makes it look bigger than it does in the pictures. And now let's just tell you how it is in terms of the seating triangle. Easy to swing your leg over. It's a step seat, but it's a wide seat, it's comfortable, and when you sit on it, you get this tank, which is again pretty big in terms visual terms, and it's metal like most other things on the motorcycle. As you can see, the foot pegs, they're forward set, and that means you get a commuter-centric seating. And when you put it down, and when you're pedaling in traffic, going ahead or coming back, it's not going to get in the way. So that's something that should work, unless of course you drag it too much, but if you're careful, it should be okay. Handlebar position, it's not too tall, but it's long and it comes towards you, and so you've got a seating that's quite relaxed. Like I said, it's a new take on commuter motorcycles, so if you're looking for something that you're going to spend long hours riding in the city or even short intercity distances, I think this should prove to be comfortable. Seat, we've already spoken about, nice padding, quite wide, and overall it's a nice motorcycle to be on. Yeah. Now at the start we said that this is based on the more affordable FZS platform, so we'll just walk you through that. Engine of course is the same 149cc, it makes 12.4 bhp thereabouts, 13.3 newton meters of torque, and this engine we've realized is not something that is extremely peppy, but it is reasonably efficient, and it's refined when you need it to be. It's not again like a outstanding engine in that sense. And it's mated to a 5-speed gearbox. It's something that's proven, and you shouldn't have any trouble on that end. Other mechanical bits are also, you've got are essentially basic things. You've got regular telescopic suspension with single disc up front, single channel ABS. You've got a monoshock that's adjustable for preload, and you've got a disc setup at the back as well, but like I said, single channel ABS, so no ring there or no ABS. It's a light motorcycle, and given what we've seen with the FZ, I think it should be a flickable motorcycle, so that should be good in the city. Are you going to end up doing knee downs on these motorcycles? Maybe, but these tires, as you can see, are more button type or off-road friendly, so if you've got bad roads to tackle on, I think this should work well. So the FZS looks much nicer in the flesh than we had imagined when we'd seen the pictures, in terms of size, in terms of finish, in terms of the overall design. And it is a take on a commuter motorcycle, but with a bit more pizzazz, a bit more retro feel to it. So it still does the duty of a commuter, but you feel good about owning and having it. Now we've told you about the FZX, but for 7,000-8,000S you can also get the FZS, and that's the vintage edition, the top spec or the top version of the FZS. Now the differences between these two motorcycles are essentially cosmetic in terms of design and also seating ergos. So we've already told you the FZX is more for somebody who's looking for retro design, a more relaxed seating, commuter centric thing. The FZS in that sense is a little more sporty. So we will sit on it and show you. The tail on this motorcycle is slightly higher, so when you swing your leg, you'll have to take it a little higher than you do on that. And then once you're seated, the seat here is slightly firmer than that. And as you can tell, the foot pegs are more rear set. The handlebar is, it's lower, it's flatter, and so clearly there's a sportier intent with the FZS, and that means that when you're riding, you can ride it more aggressively. You have with your weight in front, essentially you have better control when you're riding faster in that sense, and of course it allows you to grip better. You have more cornering clearance in that sense. So the FZS, if you like sporty riding, again this will work in the city, and if you head out to, let's say, a winding road, the FZS is a better bet. And if you want, like we said, retro styling, something cooler to look at, and this, it looks much better than it does in the flesh. I'm saying that again and again because I was pleasantly surprised when I looked at it. And so I think unless you look at the motorcycle in the flesh, don't discount it just because of the way it looks in the pictures. So yeah, that's essentially the difference between the two. Buy the FZS if you want something sportier in terms of look and intent. Buy the FZX if you want something that's more retro, more upright, more commuter-centric. So now we've already told you that the essential difference between the FZX and the FZS is in their styling is intent, while the X is more retro, the S is sportier. But there are other subtle differences as well. Take the grab rail, for example, on the FZS. It looks more premium, it's nicer to hold. The one on the X is more utilitarian in that sense. Then you look at the exhaust is stubbier on the S. Again, there's that hint of sportiness that comes in. And even in terms of road presence, you might miss the X, but you certainly won't miss the S. So that's essentially the difference when it comes to these two motorcycles in terms of visual appeal. Now the other thing that adds that bit of sportiness or brings that hint of sportiness to the FZ are of course the tires. As you can see, there is a clean difference in tires, and that's the intent. These are grippier set of tires, meant essentially the way the design is to take on the twisties, while these are designed essentially to take on more rougher roads, more straight up. That's the difference. So intent is also clear with the tires.